Hey friends out there, this is Thursday, July 15th, 2021. And it is just about 7:27 in the morning here in Northern California. And as usual, I'll talk about several different subjects today. Now, the reason I bother doing this video series is because I believe that the information I have to offer is invaluable, which means it's very valuable, crucial, imperative to not only your present well-being, but your eternal well-being. And I complain a lot about the state of affairs in the world, not just in America or my state of California, but all over the place. I don't think it's a whole lot to ask for a little bit of progress, and all we've seen is regress. Okay, here we are in the 21st century with the information of the accumulated information of the ages at all of our fingertips. So we're all without excuse for being ignorant, to be ignorant. Okay, the only way we're ignorant now and not knowing, okay, what is reality versus what is an unreality that's been imposed on us is because we are choosing to do so. So in essence, we're willfully stupid. And there's a whole lot of that going on in the world, okay? This is how the master manipulators stay in control. Really mean people at the uppermost echelons of power in this world that create the policies that we're all forced to live under from birth. I mean, you take a simple thing like the cost of living, which sounds innocuous enough, but there's not another creature on the face of the earth that has that burden. You understand, the cost of living is something you pay, I pay to somebody else. It doesn't get paid to us. Okay, so there's a group of people that have essentially hijacked the planet and told you you got to pay for what you use. Nothing is free. So all these resources that they own, which is delusional to believe you could own anything, since we're all here temporarily, any one of us could be dead today. Okay, it's a stupid theory, this thing called ownership. It's all usership. That's the best we can do, including our own body. We only have that to use. So if you can't even own your own body, what do you own? You got to look at stuff logically. We live on a planet called Earth. We are creatures called human beings. Very special, unique creatures. At the very top of the intellectual food ladder, okay? Food chain. And we've got a very unique responsibility to demand justice. And even if we don't have any injustice that we can see in our lives, we must do it for other people because we are inextricably interconnected. Other people's suffering will be your suffering, especially when we're talking about unnecessary human suffering. And you must differentiate between necessary and unnecessary because there's a whole hell of a lot of necessary suffering. And this should be categorized as organic suffering. That's across the board. That's how you identify it. That everybody, no matter what your social economic stature is in this world, you still are under the yoke of this organic, across the board suffering. Okay, this includes all kinds of diseases, death. It includes natural disasters. When you got miserably hot weather or miserably cold weather, on and on in that theme. Okay, use your imagination and you can figure out what is organic suffering and what is not. What is, in other words, invented, unnatural, artificial suffering. And this goes back to the days of slavery. This is what the beef is all about. This is what the injustice is all about. This is why people hate slavery. It's theft. Slavery is theft. Okay? And this is what incenses people. They do not want to be enslaved. So the evil men today, because they've lost the Civil War and, the slaver class, they say, well, the people aren't taking this anymore. We're at a point in history where they're just not going to take in-your-face slavery, the theft and enchainment, enslavement of human beings in order to steal their labor, to steal the wealth that belongs to them rightfully from their labors. So they've had to do it in a roundabout, surreptitious manner, very sneaky, cunning, sly, stealth manner. And that's where we're at today in the 21st century. Okay, people can object to what I'm saying. They go, oh, you're comparing it to slavery. But hey, listen. You still had a choice. You could die if you say, I'm walking off this plantation, and if my owner wants to kill me, so be it. Live free or die. But you chose to accept it because you were a coward. And that's where we're at today. We've got a huge class of cowards out there. Yeah, we're all culpable. Me too. It's tough. It's a tough choice to make, isn't it? Live free or die. But that's where we're at. This is why we need people to start stepping up to the plate. You want solutions? I'm going to tell you solutions. You got to get your cost of living down. That's how you've been enslaved gradually over the decades. Over the last half a century since the assassination of JFK, who tried to give the American people sound money, sound economic policies. In true capitalism, the way to identify true capitalism from pseudo-capitalism is that your money gradually goes up in worth, and this is due to the laws of supply and demand, because we find easy and easier methods to produce all the stuff we want and need. So your money increases in worth as stuff gets cheaper and cheaper. Do you understand? So you look at the federal minimum wage. Like, why did we come up with a federal minimum wage? Why? Why did we have to mandate by law that you had to pay American workers X amount, okay, and guarantee them X standard of living? Do you understand? It's about the standard of living that minimum wage job would afford you. $1 an hour. Today it could be 25 cents an hour. And that 25 cents an hour would be worth more than in the early 1960s, when you could live a middle-class life, afford to be a homeowner in America, one spouse working, the other staying home taking care of the family. That's the America I remember as a child. Look at how far we've fallen. You think we're not in trouble from the debasement, the dilution, the deworthment, the devaluement of your money on purpose to steal from you, to steal? What do they want from you? They want your labor because it's very valuable. It builds stuff. It produces stuff that we trade with other nations that enriches us, and we get stuff in return. So labor is every nation's single greatest asset. As the world's greatest economist, Adam Smith, pointed out in his book, The Wealth of Nations. So let's settle that argument right now. We know what every single nation's greatest resource is, greatest asset is. It's you, it's me. It's just the average everyday worker, the common laborer out there, often what they call unskilled or of little skill, often uneducated or little education. That's who they are. These people's jobs are imperative to the welfare society. Yet we pick on these people to cheat and deride and subjugate. And how do we justify it? How do you justify it? How do you rationalize it before God? And remember, listen, I'm sorry if I sound hostile. I'm not. But you've heard the saying, if the shoe fits, wear it. Well, I tell my viewers that if the shoe doesn't fit, don't wear it. It's not for you. It's for evil men to hear. But it's for you to parrot, to go out there and speak truth to power, and everybody else in between that'll listen to you. And even if they don't, it's like pouring holy water on them, because they can't refute the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Because it's pure, simple logic. It's the kind of stuff that little children can agree to, that can understand and say, you're right. There's no refuting that I'm right about the stuff I'm talking about. There's no excuse in the world why whoever heads up the Federal Labor Department, it's not the president out there trying to tell people we're taking firefighters from $13 an hour to $15. Who the hell are you? Why do we have a Labor Department? Get rid of the Labor Secretary. We're paying them, taxpayers. Get rid of them. Now the president's going to set the wages. For God's sake, everything is completely freaking insane at this point. Evil men are desperate to maintain relevance because they know their days are numbered. They see the writing on the wall. Evil men know they cannot get away with this scheme in perpetuity. The good guys eventually have to win. Okay, so the blessed hope is that God's will is going to be implemented upon this earth that belongs to God. We are God's equally beloved children, and he wants us to share this planet. I say that with full confidence because it's perfectly logical to presume these things. Do you understand? There's no need for money when your resources are allocated at birth. Your cut of the timber, your cut of the oil, your cut of the gold, your cut of the silver, your cut of the agricultural land, your cut of the fishing, and on in that theme. Do you understand? What use is there for money? What do we need money for? When it's obvious we're all born infinitely wealthy. It's stupid, it's ungodly, it's unholy, it's evil. That's the world you live in, and I am forced to live. We're all forced. We don't have a choice. They got all these draconian laws and all this crap they shove down our throats. But there's no law. You don't have to follow the golden rule. I'll go out there in your business practices and just cheat people, just step on toes, cut throats, man, whatever it takes to get ahead because you don't want to be a loser. And if you don't want to be a loser, you got to make lots of dough, man. You got to be a success, man. And it's identified very narrowly in this world, okay? We're talking the worldly wise definition, which means money. Do you understand? It's evil. What is the root of all evil? The love of money. And that's who runs the show. People that really love the money. And their attitude, how do they rationalize? How do they justify it in their own sick and twisted delusional minds? They're willfully delusional. Do you understand? They know right from wrong deep down in the marrow of their heart and soul and spirit, but they don't imbibe in investigating that within their own essence. They don't care. They say, I love money. Screw the conscience. I'll justify it somehow. Well, I'm a learned person. My professor said this. This group of people, my peers, said this. So I believe this way. I choose to believe what I believe. And it's all nonsense. It's not going to hold water on Judgment Day. So I'm trying to convince these people to jump off the ship of fools that's obviously careening to destruction. If you can't give a proper account and make some sense out of your BS, your belief systems, what do you got, man? You're in the wrong line for going to a better world, man. That's what it's all about. I'm ready, man. I want to be in that world without any form of money. No way any man could get an advantage over me. And I don't want them around me. I don't want a bunch of little you-know-whats around me, turds in the punch bowl, seeking for some way to get an advantage over me. Hey, money. Let's create money. Let's cheat people. This is what enraged Jesus in the temple. They're buying and selling all this crap in the church, and he's like, this crap. It incensed him, so he excoriated these people. Why? Not because he hated them, but because he loved them. You understand? That's why you excoriate unbelievers, people that are obviously delusional. So you've got to give them the benefit of the doubt and just presume that it's inadvertent, that they are totally unawares that they're evil. But you say, don't you get it? So that you understand they're in a twilight zone. These are the people that are in control of the righteous